What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTP Sports. And, my night, overall, was probably more eventful. Well, my entire day, I wouldn't say my entire night. I would say my entire day was, way more eventful than, watching that entire Phillies game, because that game was boring as shit. That game was such a drag and such a slog that I was falling asleep during it. And you end up getting walked off in the bottom of the ninth. Jordan Romano on the mound, 2 outs. He allowed a single to not Alejandro Kirk. He allowed a hit to Vlad Guerrero Jr. He eventually steals second base because Jordan Romano can't hold guys on the base paths, obviously. And then he's in a battle with Alejandro Kirk with 2 outs and leaves a ball over the middle of the plate with 2 strikes, and Kirk crushes it and goes off the wall for a quote-unquote walk-off single, where the Phillies, very lackluster offensively, and the game realistically was lost when you did not score with bases loaded in 1 out with Bryson Stott and Trey Turner up at the plate. That's really where the game changed. You only had 5 hits in totality in tonight's game. You just were not good. You were not good. Your lone run came on a Nick Castellanos solo shot in the top of the second inning. Just bad. Just bad, very bad. Bad, very bad. Yeah, 5 hits. Schwarber had a hit. Bohm had a hit. Castellanos had a hit. JT had a hit. Marsh had a hit. Your top of the lineup goes a combined 4 over 12. The top 3 in the lineup specifically. Mick Abel on the mound today. He was still very solid. His stat line finishes with 5 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run allowed, no walks, and 2 strikeouts on 78 pitches. He was allowing some hard contact, but it was still resulting in outs. Allowed a few base runners, granted in that 6th inning he allows a base runner, allows a couple of actually, and then, Phillies decide to go to the, but even though in that 6th inning when, Abel is still in the mound, he allows that, what was it, the Bo Bichette, with, Jimenez on second base, I believe, or on first base or something like that. That ball needs to be caught by Brandon Marsh. That ball in center field needs to be caught by Brandon Marsh. He is fast enough in center field to where he does not need to slide for that. How many times do we have to see Brandon Marsh slide for a ball in the outfield and he misses the dive, or he misses the slide, he misses the ball, it goes off his glove or something like that? Happens way too much for my liking. Brandon Marsh, he's not a good defensive center fielder. He's way better in the corners. And his stats prove that he's not that good of a defensive center fielder. He's more, preferable in left field or more preferable in right field. He cannot play center field. Johan Rojas, for his offensive, deficiencies, even though that's the same thing for Brandon Marsh, basically. Johan Rojas, for his offensive deficiencies, he at least makes that play look a little bit easier on that play. It doesn't result in a triple, does not result in a run scored, and probably Abel was able to finish off that 6th inning if that ball was caught. But no, it doesn't happen. You bring in Kerkering, he does limit the damage and keeps the game tied. Your bullpen, for the most part, Strom comes in, he gets a 1-2-3 inning. Banks, he gets a 1-2-3 inning scoreless. Then Romano just couldn't finish the ball game. But I really, realistically, I can't put so much fucking blame on the pitching today. You allowed 2 runs. When your pitching staff allows 2 runs, you should win the ball game. But no, the game was lost because your offense can't hit. And of course, it's the same Philly stereotype. When they score a bunch of runs in one game, the very next game they're going to go dead. And that's exactly what happened tonight. That's why I wasn't going so gung-ho over last night's win, because I need to see way more. Yeah, against those bottom feeder teams, when you're playing teams like the Pirates, the Rockies, who else? The Athletics, all these other bad teams that you were playing in that very long stretch of baseball. Yeah, you were putting runs up on the board very consistently because, granted, that's the quality of team you're playing against, so you should be putting a lot of runs up on the board. When you're facing better quality opponents, and granted, I don't think the Blue Jays are that good of a team. Their record's near mediocre for a reason. you're not going to score 7 runs consistently every game like we're doing against the bottom feeder type of teams. And that's what happens. The Phillies will have when they face, 500 and above type of competition or just around 500 type of competition. Yeah, that's when the true version of the offense really shows. They'll have their very high moments and they'll have their very low moments. That's basically what it was. It's really just like, what we saw in that series against the Braves. Yeah, granted, they won that series against the Braves, but they were also a Sean Murphy 3-run shot, just barely going like 2 inches foul from the Braves winning that doubleheader, sweeping that doubleheader most likely. And then you get embarrassed by the Brewers. Yeah, yesterday was a nice win where, Trey Turner hits a couple of bombs, Bryce Harper back in the lineup, he hits a bomb. Christopher Sanchez, he gets the win, but still, his stuff didn't look pretty in my personal opinion. And then you just go to the day, you couldn't hit. You couldn't hit. I feel bad for Mick Abel because he's doing literally, in his 2 starts, he's been very good. Very good. And he really deserves to be in the starting rotation full-time at this point, because now there's been another setback with Aaron Nola. Apparently, he's feeling some pain on the right side. I forget what specific body part they were mentioning. They did post it before the game, if I'm being... Not before the game. They posted like a couple of hours before today's game, so I probably should find that tweet. Yeah, it was from Matt Gelb. Aaron Nola's absence, it's going to be a bit longer. He felt some soreness on his right side, very mild, Rob Thompson said. He will not throw his live batting practice on Thursday. They'll wait a few days. So, we're going to be, the Aaron Nola comeback is going to be delayed a little bit longer, and that's even further to the point why Mick Abel should be in the starting rotation. And also with Zach Wheeler being on the paternity leave, we don't know when he's coming back either. So, yeah, you need Mick Abel on the starting rotation. And also, these games just really exemplify why a lot of us are down on the team. It's this offense, man. I believe I do have a call here in the Anytime Hotline, and it's from Sean, and I think I saw it on the transcript that this offense is boring. Or actually, I think I saw something on Twitter. It might have been from Sean, too, that this offense is boring. Yes, this offense is very boring. I would definitely... They can't hit with bases loaded. They can't hit with bases loaded. They just can't hit with runners in scoring position. And if you've seen their numbers with bases loaded, it is dreadful. It is bad. They're hitting sub 200 with bases loaded, and I think they're hitting sub 100 with bases loaded and 2 outs. They just don't have the clutch factor. They don't have that gene. They don't have that ability. They just don't. They don't. And that was proven. And also, I think it's probably time to get Bryson Stott out of the leadoff spot, personally. His numbers are just constantly dipping. He's down to 249. His on-base percentage is constantly dipping, and he's not getting as many hits as he was when he first came into the leadoff spot. So I think it's time. It really, this game was lost in the top of the 5th inning. Game was lost in the top of the 5th inning. Kepler with a walk, JT with a single, Marsh with a walk. You load the bases up. Bryson Stott, he battles in his at-bat, but it doesn't really help when you don't walk. It doesn't really help when you don't get hits. And Brighton just pops up on a pitch, high and inside, pops up. And then Trey Turner really wasn't a battle in his at-bat. He just flew out to right field. You were hoping it was one of those hits that just died in nowhere's land, but it stayed up way too long, and the outfielder was able to make the catch easily. So, it was just, that's where you lost the game. It's where you lost the game. And seriously, Brandon Marsh should catch that ball in center field. Brandon Marsh should catch that ball. Like, seriously, if this team has World Series aspirations, we're running out Max Kepler in left field. We're running a platoon of Brandon Marsh and Johan Rojas in center. Like, what are we doing here? How do we have World Series aspirations? I'm not putting much blame on the bullpen tonight. Yeah, Jordan Romano, it's annoying. Now he's starting to blow up more than that lately after he had a very good stretch of being good. But I still don't put all the blame on the bullpen because they still kept you involved. Kirkring kept you involved. Strom kept you involved. Banks in high leverage surprisingly kept you involved. I don't want to go through that experience consistently. And then Romano it's just annoying. This is the offense. This is the offense for tonight. After having a good... And there was one thing that I called a nitpick last night where it kind of felt like they did leave a lot of meat on the bone last night. When they go up 6-0, they eventually make it 8. Put 8 runs on the board. It still kind of felt like they left their foot off the gas or took their foot off the gas to where You really could have taken the Blue Jays completely out, even though the game was over. It just still felt like there was more to give, if that makes sense. And that's what this team does. That's what this team does. It's just so much meat left on the bone. They just don't do enough. Or they do a little bit, but it's not enough to be satisfactory. And now you got to go into a situation where you have to win a series tomorrow. And I think it's Jesus Luzardo on the mound. And I do expect Jesus Luzardo to have a bounce back. He is nowhere close to what he was in that start against the Brewers. And 100% Rob Thompson should have taken him out way earlier in that start. I don't know why they kept him in to where his stat line rose like 2+ extra runs on his ERA to where his ERA just completely skyrockets to where it was like sub 2, like just around 2, and now it's at like 3.5 something. Like you can't do that. You can't do that to your pitcher. You can't let him stay in and allow 12 runs. Like you're doing wrong by your pitcher right there. So I do expect Luzardo to bounce back. It's realistically, what the fuck is this offense going to do? That's basically what it is. It's like the starting pitching you can basically rely on, I would say, 8.5 times out of 10. Because eventually, for as good as your starting rotation is, they're going to have their hiccups. It happens at some points. Zach Wheeler eventually has his hiccups. Luzardo finally had his hiccup, and it was probably the worst hiccup in the world, and Rob Thompson should have taken him out way earlier. Christopher Sanchez, even though he's getting success, I still feel like eventually it's going to come back to bite him in the ass with this command issue. I just have that feeling. At this point, you'll be forcing Taijuan Walker into the rotation. For as much as success as you're finding from your starting rotation, I just don't think this offense right now, I just don't think you can survive this, especially when you're playing better competition. That's my thing. And then when you're using your high leverage arms so consistently, and your only 3 high leverage arms are Strom, Kerkering, and Romano, those guys' arms are going to be mush. They're going to be mushalite by basically the trade deadline, maybe even the All-Star break. So that's the problem here. That is the big problem. Mick Abel deserves to be in the rotation. I would like to see Mick Abel in the rotation for the foreseeable future, because at this point, yes, they do want to try putting Taijuan Walker in the bullpen, being an inning man out of the bullpen, so we'll see where that goes, even though at this point with the Aaron Nola setback, we still don't know when Zach Wheeler's coming back from paternity, even though it should be very soon. It's just depending on when his child gets born, so he'll probably be back sooner rather than later, hopefully. And granted, I'm not going to rush him back when he's, dealing with family stuff and waiting for a child to be born. That's probably way more important than baseball. It's just, it's more the offense. You still need so much with this offense. You need, like, this team cannot, and granted, they have been hitting more home runs the past few games, but still, overall, they need more power in this lineup. They need more power in this lineup. It's been, and the main complaint with this team the past few years, they've been like basically home run or nothing. They're not even home run. They're basically sometimes home run, single, maybe the occasional extra base hit, and then nothing. Barely the home run. Realistically, the only guy been hitting the home run ball is Kyle Schwarber. And the past few games, he's been more quiet than not. And still, he did some things during the Milwaukee series, so it's not really, he was the issue with the offense against Milwaukee. Just, when nobody's hitting for power, it kind of puts more pressure on Kyle Schwarber to be guy, hit the ball out of the ballpark, please, because nobody else can. Or it's a rarity when somebody else hits the ball out of the ballpark. That's when you really need Bryce to start kicking it in with the power. That's when you need Trey Turner to start kicking it in with the power. You need Nick Castellanos to start kicking it in with the power, and I just don't know if it's there at that point now. You need a right-handed power bat in this lineup, and they just don't have that, and I don't know where they're going to get that from. I don't know where they're getting that from. So, at this point, I wouldn't mind if they just tried some different things. You bring up a guy like an Otto Kemp. You bring up a Justin Crawford. Just try something different. Try something different. And if it sticks on the wall, it sticks. If it doesn't stick, at least you tried. Something different. Something different. Because at this point, you're a team with World Series aspirations that isn't good enough to win a World Series. That's how I'm judging this by. That's how I'm judging this by, because that's the expectations you put on yourself, and that's what I'm going to hold you to. Even though I don't think you're a World Series caliber team, you're mainly like a wild card team, maybe get to the NLDS type of team. If you get lucky, you get to the NLCS. I don't see you winning a World Series at all. Just because I don't think you have the depth in the bullpen, you don't have the depth in the lineup. Your starting rotation's fine. Their starting rotation's still very good. It's just that everything else. Everything else. Everything else. Just try something different, please. Please. Try something different. But they're not going to. They're not going to. So, for tomorrow's game, Jesus Luzardo on the mound against Chris Bassett. Luzardo 100% will bounce back. What's Chris Bassett's career numbers against the Phillies? Because I know Sean keeps, and I think Sean's going to say that in his voicemail, that the Phillies do not hit against Chris Bassett. What are his numbers against the Phillies? Career versus Phillies. What are his numbers? Yeah, and that truth stands hold. That point stands hold here. Chris Bassett is 4-0 with an ERA of 2.36 and 6 appearances with the Phillies in his career. The only time that he has given up, he's only given up 3 earned runs once against the Phillies, and that was at the end of the season last year in Toronto when Kyle Schwarber did Kyle Schwarber things. What else? Yeah, 1 earned run, no earned runs, 2 earned runs, 2 earned runs, 3 earned runs. So it's not guaranteed that you'll get the Chris Bassett because that's just this team's career against them. It's crazy. It's crazy. And then you have the series up after this against the Pittsburgh Pirates, where we still don't know. I think the pitching matchup for Friday. I don't think that's confirmed yet. Yeah, it's right now to be determined against Bailey Falter, then Ranger Suarez and Christopher Sanchez. So yeah, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Yeah, just annoyed. Just very annoyed. They need to do something with center field. Like I said, I'd be fine with fucking Justin Crawford. I'd be fine. It'd be something completely different. It'd be something so different, man. But I guess one thing is Mick Abel, he does look legit. I would say Mick Abel looks legit. Granted, his first start was against Pittsburgh, but he outdueled Paul Skeens. He looked good in this start. So it just sucks that his offense in the 2 games that he has started for has only scored 1 run for him. So that stinks. Hopefully, his next start, he'll get fucking run support. And I think he actually started this game on 4 days rest. So he still looked very good for that all considered. So I think Abel right now, he looks legit. I think he looks legit. What else is there? What else is there? So, sorry about that. I was reading a text message. I kind of like blanked in that moment and went to read the text message. So, it's basic. My night was weird. So, I do all the work that I have in the afternoon. I do Brodes' editing, then I do Russ's editing. Wasn't able to finish it on time because I had a gym session at 5 o'clock with my trainer. So I get most of his stuff done. Then I go to the gym. I do that. It fucking killed me. Tried something different with a little bit of cardio at the gym today. Did throw the medicine ball, like a 15-pound medicine ball on the ground. And you did like the alpine thing where you pull like the 2 things like you're, doing skis. And then you do the little, like the rope shake thing. Like 45-second intervals 3 times each for each one. It fucking killed me. It fucking killed me. So that happened. I've been stressing basically the past couple of days because of the Nintendo Switch pre-order because GameStop is fucking me over. I'm not going to go into that whole nonsense because that's a whole other fucking story. I could do a fucking whole podcast on that, and I'm not going to do that. Basically, the entire summary is GameStop is being GameStop, and I'm probably getting screwed out of my Nintendo Switch too. That I pre-ordered over a month ago. Well, 2 months ago at this point. So that's fun. And then like halfway through the Phillies game, my one buddy, Treyu, he randomly calls me. And it's like, yo, dude, what are you doing right now? I'm at your house. Are you home? I'm like, what? So I open the door, and the dude's walking around the corner. He's like, what are you doing here? He just randomly stopped by because he was waiting to pick up his girlfriend from something. That's hilarious. That was hilarious. It's a crazy night. And I do have Stanley Cup Finals on in the background. I believe it's tied at 3-3. Edmonton just tied it up in the 3rd period, so hopefully that's going to be a fun finish. But, yeah, besides that, was not fun watching the Phillies game. I could definitely tell you 100% that I was not paying attention to the Phils. I was and I wasn't because there was nothing happening. Realistically, the only parts of the Phillies game that I paid attention to was the bases loaded failed opportunity and realistically the ninth inning with Romano on the mound trying to force extras. That's really the only time I focused on it because everything else was a drag, was a complete drag. That's how bad tonight's game was. And I'm not confident that they'll find a way to win the series tomorrow. I'm just not. I am just not. Just not at all. What is it? What else? Might as well get to the anytime hotline. Might as well get there. So, let me bring this up for you guys. Bring it up here. It's a call from Sean. Like I said, I was teasing it basically the entire time. So, let's do this. Let's see what Sean has to say. I'm sure we all know what Sean's going to be saying on this.
So this has become the norm with...
Okay, that was it. It was on my speaker for some reason. Okay, let me get here, do this. Now it should be here. Hopefully that works.
So this has become the norm with my post-game phone calls about the Phillies, and the trend continues. Once again, a starting pitcher cheated out of a win because you have absolutely no offense on this team and because your defense victimized them. I mean, Brandon Marsh has to catch that ball. I mean, he was there, he was in position to make the catch, and he didn't. But you knew the game was going to change when Bryson Stott, with the bases loaded and less than 2 out, failed to deliver. The story of the Phillies, the inability to execute fundamental baseball. In closing, Jordan Romano, not a closer. Any base runner that reaches against that guy, it's a double. I think he takes about an hour and a half to get the ball to home plate. And he just doesn't have the stuff to get hitters out consistently at this point in his career. If Chris Bassett is pitching tomorrow against the Phillies, that's an automatic loss and a series loss to Toronto. If you had any kind of offense, you win today. Bassett's line tomorrow, mark it down, 6 innings pitched, 1 run, and another loss for the Fightin' Phils. Please, for the love of God, bring up Otto Kemp. Please, for the love of God, bring up Justin Crawford. And let's try to get some legitimate hitters in this lineup.
Like how it cut out at the end. It kind of sounded like he cursed, but he probably didn't. As much as I would agree to bring up those guys and just try, they're not going to do that. They're just not going to. I just don't see it happening. I really don't. Maybe they surprise me in the deal, but I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening at all. But yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if they lost tomorrow because yeah, those numbers against Chris Bassett are not good. Because I looked it up. They're not good. So we actually just got a call last minute from Zach. We might as well get to that. See what Zach's got to say. What you got, Zach?
Not a fun game to watch tonight. Not very exciting. The only real positive takeaway was Mick Abel. Another really good start. And he looks to be a real bright spot and another good pitcher for this rotation. But tonight was an ugly ball game, especially for this lineup. I mean, opportunities, and that's always what plagues this team. You know, bases loaded, you can't do anything with it. I mean, can't really say much more than that. Romano coughs it up at the end, and can't really blame him. I mean, well, he didn't pitch great. He had good stuff. His velocity was up. He wasn't locating his slider very well. But he just threw that fastball, got banged, and it was, a few too many in the zone. Kirk timed up, his old catcher. But got to win tomorrow. This bullpen is in desperate need of help. I think sooner rather than later, got to call up and get somebody, whoever it may be. But for the Phils, we'll see. Hope we can find some more consistency. It's been a little bit of a rough patch of late. Go Phils. Peace.
Here we go. Phillies team batting average with bases loaded, I think. I don't buy that stat. StatMuse says they're batting .256 with bases loaded. Unless that's just like the team statistic. overall. Like, they're batting 256 overall in general, not with the bases loaded. Like, I'm trying to find that number. Let me see. Phillies with bases loaded. Phillies, bases loaded. See if I can find that on Twitter. Here we go. This is from June 2nd from Ryan M. Spader. Phillies are batting 210 this season with 2 outs and runners in scoring position, and batting 200 with 2 outs and a runner on third. They're hitting 171 with bases loaded and .053 with bases loaded and 2 outs. And I'm sure those numbers got worse today. They probably got worse today. That can't happen. That cannot happen. That is just bad. 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 Bad, 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 bad. Bad, bad, very bad. So, well, we got tomorrow's game. It's 3 o'clock. So, we'll see where that goes. I'm not sure when I'll be able to get to the recap tomorrow. We'll see where that goes as well. I'm not sure if it's gonna be direct. It might be directly after the game. I'm not entirely sure. You'll see something pop up in your subscription feed. I'll get to you guys in the comment section or the live chat here real quickly. Just trying to see if there's anything else on Twitter that I can find from this game. I doubt there's gonna be anything else that isn't already stated or anything like that. Yeah. I just think it's just this case. We've complained about the lineup being way too home run happy the past few seasons, and now they've changed their approach completely, and now they're not hitting for power, and I think we're seeing that come back to haunt them in the ass, and coming back to haunt them. The approach about focusing on base, working the count, trying to put the ball in play. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. Offense was much more fun to watch when they were home run happy, personally. Regardless if you care about fucking fundamentals. You can do fundamentals and also be a home run happy team. Let's see your lineup. Hello, Shoko. Hello. Hello. She wants to calm my nerves about the Phillies, even though that's not gonna help. You better not mess up with the camera when you're walking behind there, little girl. You better not. Okay, she's just sitting down next to my calendar. Austin. The top 6 batters in your lineup went 3 for 24, 1 RBI, and 0 walks. This offense will not survive the playoffs, not even a wild card round. The meat on the bones is seriously getting old from Tyler. I do agree with that. Can you help me understand why Dave Dombrowski did nothing in the offseason? The problem with this team was apparent by the All-Star break last year. You don't always have to spend money to make trades. Like I said, this is not me taking blame off Dave Dombrowski, because I do believe with limited resources, you still should be able to find better pieces than what you did in the offseason. Realistically, his best move was Jesus Luzardo, and that does nothing for the lineup, regardless of how much I like Luzardo. I think it goes back to John. I realistically just think John Middleton cheaped out. I realistically think that. He just didn't want to spend any more money than he needed to. And if you're an owner that comes out and says publicly that I want my effing trophy back, and I'll do anything possible to get it, and then you kind of cheap out in the offseason, it's not a good look. It's not a good. I think it goes a lot deeper than just Dave Dombrowski didn't decide to do anything to help the team. I think a lot of it has to do with John Middleton cheaping out. I realistically think that's the thing. Even if we had 2 or 3 Alvarados in the pen, what difference would it make if the offense cannot be relied on to produce anything at all in some games, especially against mediocre or bad teams? I'm just pissed because this team could be so much better and extend the good feelings off of the Super Bowl win thanks to the Eagles. Instead, our outstanding starting pitching gets screwed. Yeah, it does. I don't bet money on sports ever because I refuse to, but holy damn, I feel bad for anyone that bets money on this team. Last question, why can't Abel go into the bullpen until it's absolutely necessary for him to start games? He could easily chew up 2-3 innings for every few days. Yeah, I would put maybe Abel in the bullpen. Seriously, if you had a full healthy starting rotation, if you had Zach Wheeler, Jesus Luzardo, Christopher Sanchez, Aaron Nola, Ranger Suarez, that was your rotation, yes, I would 100% fully commit to Mick Abel in the bullpen. Mick Abel in the bullpen, Andrew Painter in the bullpen, and then if you do go to a postseason, obviously your rotation is probably going to shrink to 4 men instead of 5. You put Ranger Suarez in the bullpen. So, and also eventually when Andrew Painter does come up, because he is going to come up at some point, bullpen. And then you'll also have Taijuan Walker in the bullpen. That bullpen construction is drastically better than what they have right now. Still, I do think they need another left-handed arm in the bullpen, and that's what Ranger would do in that scenario, because Ranger can pitch in any situation. That should be the case, but I don't know what the fuck they're going to do. I really don't know. But yeah, I definitely would be in favor of a Mick Abel to the bullpen when it's necessary. But right now, he needs to be in the starting rotation because Nola's hurt still, and it's going to be on the island a little bit longer. And you don't know when Zach Wheeler's coming back from maternity. So Mick Abel needs to be in the rotation. And I think he just deserves to be in the rotation, personally, over Taijuan Walker. So, yeah. That's all I wanted to get to tonight, people. And, yeah, we'll see where things go to tomorrow. Most likely this team will piss us off once again tomorrow. So, we'll see. We'll see. But appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. Do not forget to drop a like and leave a comment in the comment section down below. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button. It does me a great deal of service. And you can also use the code TTPSPORTS, $20 off your first purchase at SEATGEEK. Great deal. Do not pass it up. So thanks, people, for tuning in tonight. We'll get another recap tomorrow after the series ends. And I'll see you next time. I am tired as shit.